Alright my darlings, and welcome once again to Christmas, Headphones UK style, and today we're looking at something very special indeed. But before I get on with the obligatory introduction, there's something else I have to introduce you to. Comic Relief. For those who don't live in the UK, Comic Relief is a bi-annual event held by various big media companies and businesses around the UK to raise awareness and money for various charitable causes, through things that revolve around entertainment like songs, TV shows, movies, live performances, and of course, animation. And many of these events contain celebrities who participate for the purpose of contributing to these causes. Comic Relief has been the seat of a bit of controversy and divisive opinions in recent years. On the one hand, many argue how this is a huge help to causes that need support, and it's a great way of urging the public to get involved, since so many charitable causes struggle due to the general apathy and lack of knowledge the public have of them. Whereas on the other hand, many argue how they support causes that seem like idealised situations of what we consider charitable causes, but are either not entirely needed or just self-defeating, and how the celebrities involved are just self-serving their careers and using this as a cheap way to get publicity and good PR. I kind of operate a middle ground with these two opinions, since I can kind of see both sides of the argument, but regardless, I'm deliberately not monetizing this video because while the criticisms towards Comic Relief do have some valid points, they do still do a lot of help towards causes that really do need help. And today we're actually going to be looking at one of their productions. See, Comic Relief sometimes does big projects that are not released in the time in which the event is held, which is usually between March and May, but at a later date because it fits more with that particular time. And today we're looking at a series of animated shorts that were made to be released around Christmas. I'm of course talking about the stop-motion seasonal series known as Robbie the Reindeer. And since we've got 3 specials to look at today, and I don't have much time on my hands, we're going to get straight into it. But don't worry, I will be observing the winter festivities. Mostly because I'm doing this while wearing my slippers. The first special was written by Richard Curtis, which is very obvious from a mile away, since Richard Curtis, while a very funny writer, does tend to get bogged down with sitcom cliches and very safe, quaint British humour. Though it does make sense why he would write this special, because he is a long-time patron of Comic Relief. Hence why there are so many Vicar of Dibley Comic Relief specials. The first special was directed and mostly animated by Aardman veteran Richard Gobblefunk, and has his distinctive style all over it, both the good and the bad, which I'll get into later. But let's not waste any more time and get into the first short, Hooves on Fire, released in 1999. The short opens with our titular character, Robbie, being dropped off at the North Pole, and his nose directing him to his destination. Gee, I wonder what famous reindeer he's related to. He arrives at the house and meets the other reindeer, and of course, being a Richard Gimblefont production, all the female ones have perfectly spherical and very exposed boobs. I've never understood this design quirk of his. If he wants to see stop-motion animation with tits everywhere, watch Robot Chicken.
So, come to join the team like your old dad did.
Yeah, the boss wanted a navigator. I can find my way anywhere with this nose.
By the way, if Robbie's voice sounds familiar, that's because he's voiced by Ardal O'Hanlon, who was the same guy who played...
I just remembered Aliens is on after the news.
Yep, Father Dougal from Father Ted. In fact, many Comic Relief productions are almost entirely made of celebrity cameos. And since we don't have much time on our hands, let's see that celebrity roll call right now.
It must be the last of some rare and endangered species.
Enjoying training, Robbie?
I am Blitzen. Any problems, come and see me.
Old Jingle is retired, so...
And here now come the 3 10-tonners.
Ho ho! Found your way all right.
This particular roll call may seem a little bit low-key now, but just give it a little bit more time. It's difficult to convince high-paid Hollywood actors to do these kinds of small productions for presumably no pay. Anyway, Robbie is actually the son of a certain reindeer in particular who we of course all know well, but they actually never say his full name at all in the short.
That rule.
Oh, no. I will not have that name said in my presence.
Are you talking about Roo?
The little Robbie there, Des, the son of course of...
Don't say that name.
Which could either be a joke or because there's a surprisingly harsh copyright on the name Rude. As a result of his heritage, he can navigate using his nose, and has been assigned to Santa's sleigh team to follow in the footsteps of his old man, though I'm curious who his dad married to give Robbie his Irish accent. But, as it turns out, the leader of the sleigh team, Blitzen, isn't particularly happy about that. The fact that Robbie's on the team, that is, not his Irish accent.
Crush him. Trample him to dust.
You don't like him, do you?
Not especially, no.
This is about his dad, isn't it?
I've been captain of the sleigh team for years, but Robbie's dad, he's still the famous one. No, just because he saved the day for the boss one time.
I can relate to that. I feel the same way about these guys. So Blitzen's goal is to get back at Robbie for what his old man did to him. He tries making Robbie exhausted through training exercise, but figures out that humiliating him would be a more tasty dish. So he tells Robbie that he doesn't have to train, and the workings of his plan are made clear when they attend a party at the house of the red-hatted one himself, who lives in a house that I'd be scared to step in the door of with it sitting on a snowdrift like that. I dread to think what's going to happen to that house after he has the sprouts at Christmas dinner. Anyway, Beard Breath tells the reindeer about some additions Blitzen has made to his sleigh, including a brand new satellite navigation system. But since this is 1999, that means that it's going to keep telling him to turn left when he's on a bridge, or that his destination is on his right when he's next to a brick wall. Of course, this leaves Robbie's position as navigator tentatively hanging, but Santa reassures Robbie that
Blitzen came up with a very fair way of deciding who we should leave behind. It'll be the reindeer who is most unfit.
I think you're safe though, Robbie. Prancer is way fatter than you are. So long as he's around, your job will be more secure than Vladimir Putin's job of ruler of the world. I mean, president of Russia. Naturally, Robbie is very disheartened by this and imagines all the kids he's going to let down, who look like a cross between the child from The Sandman and the dolls of the Doctor Who episode Night Terrors, and are twice as scary as both put together. He tries to run away, but ends up freezing, but is saved, sort of, by some dodgy elves, and tries to help them out as a way of assisting Santa. But as Rudolph and the Land of Forgotten Toys showed us, reindeer aren't very good with toys.
Look, Sebastian Muscle Whale.
Do whales have arms?
Sebastian's got 3. He needs them to fight his arch enemy, Octomonkey.
Donna finds him and gives him a solution to getting back on the team by winning the reindeer games. So Robbie agrees in the hope of not only getting back on the team, but also trying to impress Vixen. I wouldn't really bother if I were you, Robbie. This guy could probably tell you that Vixens are a notoriously hard catch. They then go and meet a senile reindeer called Old Jingle, who looks so much like Father Jack Hackett from Father Ted that I'll be dutifully replacing all of his dialogue with this.
Drink! Take! Arse! Girls!
Come on, how could I not do that? Also, I take back what I said about Santa's house. That one looks like a flea jumping on it could knock it off.
Yous are gonna get a reach slap for that house.
Anyway, Jingle then trains Robbie, which of course leads to the obligatory training montage. Just once I would like to see a training slideshow in a movie. Is that too much to ask? Jingle then tells Robbie that his best chance to win is by using his nose, and teaches him how to use the nose jump. Which, if Robbie can bounce with his nose, what the hell can Sarah Jessica Parker and Barbara Streisand do with theirs?
You can be as good as your dad, Robbie, pupil. He's just a man.
Actually, we're all reindeer.
That explains a lot. These for a start. And why they never let me become Pope.
Okay, now that had to be a reference to Father Jack.
Gobshite!
Eventually, the reindeer games begin, which are commentated by...
Right, I'm Des Yeti, and this is, Alan Snowman.
What, no love for John Foxon or Steve Chilson? So the games begin, and of course Blitzen sweeps the field, but the big decision will come down to the winner of the steeplechase. Though it will be a hollow victory since horses in steeplechases have to be castrated in order to compete. No, seriously, that actually happens. I guess it's one of the drawbacks of having a massive penis. Not that I would know. Vixen tries to convince Robbie not to compete, but Robbie's gotten over his crush and he doesn't care about Vixen anymore. Instead, he cares about Donna.
You spoke to me. Robbie, you can't speak to me because you love me so much. What are you up to?
I grew up.
Robbie, you all set?
Hey, all's not lost, Vixen. You've always got the Tonya Harding option.
Tanya would have been on that judge like shit on Velcro. Give me that medal, you French whore!
However, Robbie gets sidetracked with saving Jingle, which he succeeds at. I wonder what he has to say about that.
Ash biscuits!
Sounds about right to me. This makes Robbie late for the start of the race, but manages to catch up with Blitzen, but he won't let Robbie past, and even tries to knock him out, which surely should get him disqualified. But Robbie uses the nose jump, but Blitzen still amazingly manages to win by...
And the winner, by a nose,
Yes!
I think if they didn't put that joke in there, Richard Curtis would have legally disowned this project. But Donna kisses Robbie and, in his joy, beats all of Blitzen's records. I bet it's not his nose that's making him bounce anymore. So Robbie is chosen for the sleigh team and Blitzen is deservingly arrested for cheating, and Robbie then takes Donna out on a date to the moon. Just don't try and steal any moon rocks while you're there, or this creepy 1950s oven-looking robot will try and kill you. And so ends this short. All in all, a nice, simple and very funny short with some good animation, good jokes, good voice acting and a nice story. Nothing too special, but certainly enjoyable. And it has a great deal of charm to it, but then again, when you get the animator of Shaun the Sheep to do your short, it's going to be a worthwhile product. It's also worth mentioning that this and the second short were released in America, though much like the first series of Farthing Wood, they decided to recast almost everyone with purely Atlantean voice actors. So Robbie is voiced by Ben Stiller, Donna is Britney Spears for some reason, and Jim Belushi is Santa.
Hello, call me Robbie, 'cause I am.
Robbie, if you're not into exercise, what on earth are you doing here?
You're a good dear, just like your dad.
Once again, proving Americans think that if they watch something where the cast is a majority non-American, then it'll make the Third Reich rise again. As if sticking to their own shores won't do the same thing. To be fair, some of the cast they got actually works really well, like Brad Garrett as Prancer.
Cool. Let's kill it.
And Hugh Grant plays Blitzen, who sounds so much like Steve Coogan, it's actually kind of creepy.
Any problems, come and see me. If you don't have any problems, see me anyway, and we'll celebrate your lack of problems.
But it still makes you think, what was the point of doing an American dub? Americans aren't stupid. Well, okay, some of them are, but still, a majority of them can get past if it's mostly British voices, especially when the animation looks so similar to Aardman that they would just associate it with Wallace and Gromit, so having mostly British voices would actually work better in that regard. I also have to wonder if the money that was made from exporting Robbie to the West actually made it back to Comic Relief, since apparently it was shown on Fox, and you can bet your bottom dollar that Rupert Murdoch would try everything he could to make sure that that money would go into his virgin skin-lined pocket. This was of course before Fox was sold to Disney, since I don't even think Disney would dare steal money from charity. They would just make a charity and steal money from you. But we've got to move on to the next short in the series, Legend of the Lost Tribe. This short was released 2 years later and, well, they certainly upped the cast this time, because take a look at the cameo roll call now.
Dream up some new projects. It's what I call a think space.
They've been with us for millions of years. Indeed, they shared the Earth with the dinosaurs.
Well, Blitzen, you've won the best behaved prisoner mug 3 times running.
Oh, Blitzen's Reindeer World!
We found a leaflet for that.
Sounds quite good, actually.
Yeah.
This thing's rubbish. Who built this?
There are so many cameos in this short, I'm surprised Stan Lee wasn't in there. Richard Gogglebox didn't direct this one. Instead, it was made by a guy called Peter Peake, who had worked on A Close Shave, Creature Comforts, and Rex the Runt. And he was also the creator of Pib and Pog, which, if this short is anything like this show, we're gonna have a grim time. This special opens up with Robbie doing a tour around a mountain. As it turns out, the sleigh team have quit their jobs at the North Pole with Santa in the hopes of a better career, so they've opened a holiday resort. Not the best career move in the world, but it's still a better option than what Inuits sometimes do with reindeers. After saving Ricky Gervais' penguin from falling off a cliff, he's then saved by a lone Viking, but no one believes him about it. Old Jingle even tells Robbie that all the Vikings are gone because after running out of places to conquer and treasure to find, they all fought and killed each other. Sounds like what happens when you run out of quests to do in Skyrim.
But what if they are real? What if there's more of them? A lost tribe? And I could find them.
That would be an ecumenical matter.
The others have other issues to worry about though, primarily because the North Pole holiday business expectingly isn't doing very well, and they're floundering on the business front. However, Blitzen, recently released from jail, has a solution for them.
That's why we're going to build them this hotel.
Who could afford to stay in that?
Hi, I'm Warren Hutch, the famous internet billionaire.
I've just turned myself into a rabbit thanks to a telepod malfunction, and now I'm looking to take it easy. Yeah, being a fly and a rabbit can really take it out of you, if you know what I mean.
Yes, that is Jeff Goldblum as the rabbit, who is easily the best part of this short, since it's both awesome to see him here, but because he totally lets himself go in the role. Or roles, as it will turn out to be. You'll see in a minute. They build the hotel, but of course it turns out to be a trap by Blitzen, who is here to get revenge on the gang by making them the star attraction to a reindeer-themed amusement park. Still sounds like a safer idea than Jurassic Park. I mean, Jeff Goldblum's there, just ask him about it. Although he's probably got a lot more things on his plate now, since it turns out that he's actually...
My real identity is Long-Eared Jack, Master of Disguise.
I hope you enjoyed that gag, because it's not getting old anytime soon. Donna, Robbie and Prancer manage to escape and figure out that their only hope is the Vikings, so go looking for them, with one of Goldblum's other rabbit personas hunting them down. Sadly, Donna and Prancer are captured, but Robbie manages to find the Vikings, who are all voiced by members of the League of Gentlemen. Well, you're sorted then, Robbie. Just get them to show up as Tubbs and Edward, Hilary Briss or Papa Lazarou, and they'll be scared off before even a single punch is thrown. The Vikings reveal to Robbie that during the final Viking battle, that these Vikings were the cowards who ran away and have hidden for all this time. Robbie tries to convince them to join in, but he gets captured too and taken to Blitzen's reindeer world, where we hear another familiar voice.
This is a reindeer, characterized by his distinctive antlers.
At this point, I'm not convinced the real David Attenborough isn't a computer simulation. I mean, how can a guy that old keep doing nature documentaries? Blitzen has turned all the other reindeer into mindless drones and is basically doing a hostel by having them be tortured for the paying crowds. All we need now is some copious amounts of gore and some casual homophobia, and it really will be an Eli Roth movie. Naturally, Blitzen has Robbie over a barrel and is about to kill him. But the Vikings show up and so begins the big fight.
Robbie, your bravery shamed us out of our shame.
Plus, it was too late to cancel the coach without losing the deposit.
Prancer takes on Goldblum, and when he defeats him, he finds out who he truly is.
Carlos the Hamster, wanted in 20 countries.
My life in crime, he is over.
Unfortunately, Carlos is actually voiced by Alistair McGowan, not Jeff Goldblum like the other ones. But I would have loved to have seen him play that hamster. Robbie and Donna go after a fleeing Blitzen, Robbie proposes to Donna, Donna knocks out Blitzen, blah blah blah, happy ending. Okay, so the climax is a lot of fun, but there's not a lot to make fun of here, so I'm skipping it.
Well, I never did. Hairy Japanese bastards!
Everybody then dances to the tune of Robbie Williams' Rock DJ, and so ends this, to be honest, really awesome short. I genuinely feel that this special is far better than the first one. It's got a lot of great jokes, takes more time with its story, has better pacing, has some great character moments, and the great surreality of it just makes it a joy to watch. The only major complaint I would have is that it doesn't really feel very Christmassy. It might as well be an Easter special with all the rabbits running around.
Take off, cop!
But after we've seen the best, it's now time to see the worst, with 2009's Close Encounters of the Herd Kind. Close Encounters of the Herd Kind is the only one in the series not to be stop motion animated, and that was clearly a bad idea, as while I can understand why they did it, since stop motion is expensive and this is meant for charity, they could have at least gotten some CGI that didn't look like it came straight out of a PS1 game cutscene. Seriously, this CGI looks awful, and when I first watched it, I genuinely felt like I was waiting for the chance to play a video game, since it looks almost identical to the Aardman video games that were made during the DreamWorks years. It's so bad that at times, it's hard to tell what just happened. Video Brincado's got nothing on that. This is also the only Robbie the Reindeer special not to have Steve Coogan, sadly, but Alan Partridge was just starting to get going again around about the time of this special, so perhaps he wasn't available. But let's not delay this anymore and get into the last of the series of Robbie the Reindeer. Oh, and strap in everyone, because it's cameo time again.
I'm one of the ancient Earth Guardians, sworn to protect your young planet from outside interference.
Hard target check of every bouquet, bow tie, wedding cake, champagne glass and canapé in this lodge.
5 million light years without a bathroom break, and boy am I in a mood.
Destruction of Earth in T-minus 30 seconds.
I don't want to hassle you, but I got another gig at 3, you know.
I do like the touch of Ozzy Osbourne playing a bat like he did in Brutal Legend, as it's obviously a reference to when he bit the head of a bat on stage once. But that does also make me think, if David Cameron or Richard Gere were in this special, what the hell would they be animated as? The short opens with Donna and Robbie talking about their wedding day, which is happening tomorrow, when Robbie then sees a shooting star and is literally knocked into the next scene. Seriously, how the hell does that make any sense? Was it a TARDIS that fell on him and blew him into some kind of time explosion? Robbie has also managed to get his hand on a big green crystal, which I'm sure he'll use to contact Jor-El in the Hall of Solitude. Everyone else is getting ready for the wedding with the help of the bridesmaid, Em, Donna's sister, and after a quick Men in Black reference, eventually the wedding gets underway.
Sorry, I thought we were going to that frickin' island!
But Robbie gets distracted by a voice in his head and runs away. It's probably for the best, Donna. Marrying a guy who can hear voices in his head is usually not a good sign. Just ask Rose West. Oh, what? Too soon? Robbie then runs into the voice that was speaking to him, which turns out to be an alien called...
My real name is almost impossible to pronounce in your earthling tongue. The nearest approximation is... Gary? If you like.
Yeah, that's actually how you pronounce Richard Gimboyd's last name properly. Also, are we sure that's not just the noise he makes from having to wear that very tight Borat-style mankini all the time? Gary, who is played by Michael Palin by the way, warns Robbie that the crystal is an energy source to a powerful alien weapon belonging to a race of alien warlords known as the Nagathrons, and he has to keep it safe.
Power to lay waste your entire planet!
What's wrong? Are you hurt?
I'm out of time.
This is all the bollocks that I'll do for free. I have to go back to making travel programs.
Robbie then runs away and the rest of the gang try to find him. But before they can, this happens. Oh my god. It's a giant addictable maze toy. It's just what I wanted for Christmas! So the Nagathrons land, who look like a bunch of mutated Cheetos, and are led by their queen, Vorkana, who is, of course, voiced by Gillian Anderson, in Scully voice mode. Even with actually becoming an alien, I'm sure she'd still be skeptical about alien life. She's kind of stubborn like that.
Marzipan!
I can relate actually. Marzipan is disgusting. Better to go with buttercream icing. They're looking for Robbie and while he isn't there, they're not idiots and figure out that Donna knows him and take her instead. Does it count as a runaway bride wedding if the bride is kidnapped by a bunch of alien warlords? The lads then go out to find her and Robbie and come across a ship that... Wait a minute! That's the snow speeder from Star Wars! How the hell did they get permission to use that? Is this another BBC legal loophole that they're exploiting again?
Donna kidnapped by an evil alien and rescued by little old lass in a sports locker.
Donners, what? Calling all Earth Guardian aliens. Do you copy? Help! Gary was right. This radio's had it.
Yeah, this ray gun's bust as well. Oh my god!
Robbie then takes Luke's speeder to the mothership, after managing to avoid any ATSTs, after giving Prancer the crystal for safekeeping, but he gets captured quickly too. And Vorkana manages to get the location of the crystal out of him as well. Who's for reindeer pate tonight? The boys return to the lodge and, rather unsurprisingly, M turns out to be a secret agent based around alien sightings, and they try to help get Robbie and Donna back, but of course the alien Doritos find them first. But M sees the crystal that Robbie gave Prancer and uses it to power a communicator to summon the rest of Gary's people for assistance. Unfortunately they got their wires crossed and summoned a bunch of Klingons by mistake who then destroyed them. And then summoned a bunch of the orgasm aliens from Torchwood, which drastically changed the age rating of this special. No, they managed to get the communicator working, but the freaky Watsits find them and hold them hostage, and prepare to destroy the Earth with the crystal. Robbie tries to think of a way out, but can't because his face suddenly decided to do this. Seriously, that was the best render you had for that moment. I dread to think what Donna was doing to him off screen to make him make that face. He then uses Gary's telepathic headband to get him and Donna free. He sends Donna home and tries to deactivate the laser. Unfortunately, Vorkana destroys the console and the world's worst looking Bamzuki then tries to destroy Robbie. But he manages to teleport her to Earth and an awfully animated punch takes her out.
Destruction of Earth in T-minus 30 seconds.
Oh, will you put a sock in it?
Just for that, destruction of Earth in T-minus 10 seconds.
Hang on a minute, that was Graham Norton. Either that or we finally found out what happened to Father Noel after he got caught in that cave-in. The Space Guardians then destroy the mothership, Robbie makes it out, and he and Donna get married. A party then happens because every Robbie the Reindeer short has to end with a party for some reason, and so comes to the end of the short, and the Robbie the Reindeer series as a whole. Okay, to be honest, after everything I've said, I have to be honest and say that the third special isn't that bad. Besides the horrific animation and some bad jokes, it still does have some of that Robbie the Reindeer charm to it. It feels much more scaled down and basic compared to the last two, and I can't say I'd put it up there with the second one, but if it had better animation and a few more rewrites in the script, it could have been great. But this is what we got, and the rough edges can make it a bit hard to get around. And clearly audiences felt the same, since this was the last Robbie the Reindeer short. In summary of the three shorts, the first one isn't the best Christmas short I've ever seen, but it has its charm, some good laughs, and good animation. Its story is certainly nothing original, but with a really diligent and talented cast, a writer who, for the most part, is usually very funny, and a team who you can tell really put all their effort into it, it certainly makes it enjoyable at the very least. The second one is hilarious and a lot of fun, but thematically doesn't really fit with the season, but it has an incredible cast, even better animation than the last one, and is a really good story through and through. And the third one is okay, but feels really cheap and made on the hoof. Sounds like the journey of the original Streets of Rage series to me. You can find the whole series on DVD if you're curious, and its profits do go to charity, so it's worth a purchase. Even if you don't entirely agree with what Comic Relief does, they do some good stuff, and they have made some good productions over the years, and these three shorts sort of represent the grade of quality their productions can be. Good, but not brilliant, really funny, and kind of teetering towards crap, but it still has its charm to it. But regardless, I hope you've enjoyed my video, and I hope you all have a lovely holiday season. But for now, I've had enough of this. I'm going on the other side to have a bath. Bye!